Hey everyone, how are we doing today? Goofy Rexy here, coming to you with a video today on how to manage resources. Um, so today's video, I'm going to go over kind of your typical resources that you use in this game. So it's primarily your gold resource, your Blitz credits, your War Store credits, your raid credits, um, even a little bit on red stars, and I'll touch on power cores as well as touching on as well bitch charges too. So I wanted to make this video today because I've talked to a lot of members in my alliance. I've talked to a lot of other players who are always mentioning that they're running out of gold or that they don't have enough credits to farm characters, or that they just don't have enough resources that they need. Now, while this game is scarce when it comes to certain materials, I do believe that there are better ways or good ways that I believe that you can implement to make sure that you're making your resources last as much as they possibly can. I myself, I am a cheap to play player, so therefore I do not spend a lot of money in this game. I do spend, but I don't spend a lot of money in this game. If you were to kind of put me into a classification, I'm definitely not a whale. I'm definitely not a dolphin either. I would more consider myself to be more of a porgy or maybe even a bass, right? Um, like the one that's like at the cutoff, before you have to throw them back into the water. I'm kind of like at that cutoff point when it comes to, what I spend on the game. Um, so the first resource that I wanted to touch on today was actually talking about gold and how to manage your gold. Um, as you can see currently right now, I have 2.78 million gold. Not a lot of gold. This gold can go really, really, really fast depending on how I actually decide to use this currency. I want to first start touching on how to use your gold effectively when working on your specific characters. My recommendation when it comes to gold is to make sure that you're only working on one specific character at a time. I know that the primary goal is always for you to work on specific teams, right? Working on building out certain teams. But my recommendation to make your actual currency, your gold currency, do the most for you is to make sure that you're only actually working on one character at a time. Now, what do I mean by that? You're only taking that one character at that specific given moment from level 0 to level 50, or to level, if it's level 25 or level 50 or level 60 or level 65, whatever the case is. I don't always recommend taking a character from 0 all the way up to 70 or 75 unless it's like an OP character like Ultron or someone like maybe even Black Bolt, right? But even then, you want to implement plans in place to make sure that you're hoarding at least some of that gold that you need to be able to take that character to that level. I also recommend only working on building up one character at a specific time, whether it's to bring them up to a specific gear tier level too as well. That is also part of my recommendation too. Just making sure that you're working on one specific character at a time, because essentially, right, you have to spend not only money on getting the character up to a specific level, but then you also have to then work on these gear pieces that also cost gold. You also as well maybe farming shards, for a character. So of course then you have to work on ranking up characters too as well. So my recommendation is to work on one character at a time, bringing that character up to a certain level, bringing that character up to a certain gear tier level. Then of course if you want to work on other character shards too as well, of course you want to make sure that you're watching your gold and that you're not taking away once you do get a character. So right now, when I take Shocker to 6 stars, I might not immediately convert him over to 6 stars, because currently right now I am working on gear for Psylocke, and once I am done working on gear for Psylocke, then I can use the additional gold that I get. I can funnel over the Shocker. But that's just my recommendation, only to work on one specific character at a time, working on one specific thing at a time when it comes to your character tunes. Another place that you can use your gold as well is also in the supply store. what I recommend when you're looking in the supply store to be cost effective is to only spend gold on certain, like there's always a lot of like gear pieces that are in the store. I recommend not to spend money on gear pieces or your gold on gear pieces that you can farm in actual nodes, right? So I wouldn't come here and I wouldn't, spend money on, probably, the superior lock case, or spend any money on the superior, maybe the superior health catalyst. I might want to actually be more efficient with my gold, and I will only probably focus down on superior uniques. Like superior uniques, quantum energy is something that Black Bolt needs. I may spending on miasma if I see it in the store to, for Hella, if I was working on eventually getting Hella to gear tier 13. I only recommend spending gold on specific items in the store that you're actually going to, that are actually really rare items to find, and if it's certain pieces that you can find in nodes, then I would not spend the gold on it. I know a lot of people also as well come here and they'll spend 240,000 gold on ABCs. There's so many other ways for you to get ABCs in this game. I would not spend your gold currency on ABCs in the supply store. That's just my recommendation. Some may feel differently about that, but I personally would not spend that gold on ABCs when you can find ABCs in other areas. Now, things that you can, like certain things that you can, even if there are farmable, certain things that you may be able to consider is something like this, where it's 80k for 5 of it or something like that. Maybe that's something that you can consider if it's something that you really need to maybe take that character. That's the one piece. Those pieces are the one pieces that you are looking for to be able to take that character from gear tier 10 to gear tier 11, or gear tier 11 to gear tier 12. Then I would consider it. But if it's something where you're just starting to work on the gear pieces for that character and you don't really need it right now, you can wait a little bit. My recommendation would be to wait and to not spend your gold currency and to wait. This game is about patience, and you have to start to exercise patience, or else you're going to run out of currency really quickly. So that would be, my recommendation. Also, I would, if on days when you do want to spend a lot of your gold, I would probably recommend spending gold on those days, right, that maybe you have the gold rush reward. So your Monday, your Thursday, your Sunday, right? Those might be the days where you want to come and that you want to spend a little bit more gold because you're gonna get that gold back. So I also recommend probably trying not to spend more gold than the gold that you're going to get back through the gold rush, thing on the Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. But then every day, probably not spending more gold than the gold that you're going to be getting here. And maybe using the gold that you're getting here and the gold that you're going to get for another day, and then using that gold, let me claim this, using that gold to equip a character, or to buy certain specific uniques that are in the store. But it's about planning, and it's also about having patience too as well. The next currency that I wanted to talk about was your Blitz credits. Your Blitz credits are a little bit unique, because when it comes to your Blitz credits are, it varies depending on where you are in the game. In the early part of your game, you're probably most likely going to want to spend Blitz credits, specifically target farming certain characters, right? In the early part of the game, you don't have legendaries, and this game, as we all know, is all about legendaries. So you want to make sure that you have a specific plan in place to make sure that you're target farming characters in the Blitzstore. So I have a second account right now, and when I first started, I would get whenever I got enough Blitz credits, I would just specifically make sure that I target farmed specific characters like Mantis or Gamora, to pursue and to unlock Star-Lord, right? That was what I used my credits for. You might want to target Rhino if you're looking to use him to unlock Shuri or Invisible Woman. Just my recommendation is to be specific in target farming. If you're in the early part of the game and you're not getting enough credits to be able to target farm characters, on a regular routine basis, I would say day by day, then maybe I would then recommend, if you're getting enough of the 350, to make sure that you probably come here and that you're pulling Blitz orbs. That's the only time that I would recommend it. But if you're in a place where you can get at least 500 Blitz credits a day, then I would definitely recommend specifically target farming and using your Blitz credits that way. I would also say, for those who are in the later part of the game, those who now have access to war or in an alliance that does war, I I've heard things go around a lot of the times about buying the pack of shame, which is that $10 offer or $14.99 offer that gives certain amount of war energy refills or whatever the case is, or blitz defense boost, whatever. I don't know. It's whatever you guys call the pack of shame. I'm forgetting what it is right now. Specifically, how I war prep is that I actually come into the Blitzstore and I use my credits that I have to purchase war energy refills. I also use those credits as well to purchase defense boosts. And I make sure that I do this, maybe depending on how much I already have in inventory, right? You can click on it before you buy it to see how much you have in inventory. I typically click on this and I see how much I have in inventory. Right now I'm at 475. I'm good enough to be able to get 1 to 2 to even maybe 3 extra attacks. So I'm gonna be fine. I don't need to buy the war energy refill. The defense boost, I have enough to be able to do 2 defense boosts in a war. So I am good. I don't feel as if though I need to go ahead and purchase more war energy refills. So therefore, this is how I war prep. I don't buy the pack of shame. I don't spend my actual dollars and actual money to buy the pack of shame, because I make sure that I use my Blitz credits to get these items so that I can be ready and prepared for war. Also, when you get to the later stage in the game, I also recommend as well that if you've already farmed the characters to get to 5 stars and to 6 stars that you need to unlock legendaries in the Blitzstore, then I recommend too as well, if you have some extra credits, then go right ahead and open some Blitz orbs, because you also want to be able to finish off the characters in the Blitzstore. And the goal is to get all your characters to 7 stars, right? So why not go ahead and pull a couple Blitz orbs, so that you can also make sure that you advance to get your characters to 7 stars as well. When it comes to the raid store, once again, this is kind of dependent on where you are in the game. I personally do not use any sort of raid credits to open any purple gear raid orb, or any other orb in the store. In the early part of the game, I did at times open up the raid orbs, and the only reason why I did that is because I wasn't in an alliance that was doing Blitz effectively enough for me to be able to get enough raid credits. And instead of just passing up on opportunities to be able to farm characters, what I would do is that I would pull raid orbs. So that may be where you are in the early part of the game, and you're not effectively able to get the same amount of an efficient amount of raid credits, like the 1400, for you to be able to target farm characters. Then I would definitely recommend opening up raid orbs at that specific point. But once you are able to be efficient where you're getting 1400 credits a day, then I would make sure that I'm specifically farming and targeting raid characters that are in the raid store. I also too as well, this is also a consideration that maybe what you also want to do is that if you are specifically targeting a character, let's say Rocket, and Rocket is not popping up often, and you now have like 4,000 raid credits, then yeah, absolutely, I would then recommend for you to come here and then probably open up 1 raid orb, see what you get, and then hope that of course the next time that maybe you'll be able to find Rocket, or the character that you're looking for, Mysterio. Once again, characters that help to unlock legendaries, in that raid store. I Also, there are times if you do have extra credits, where maybe you can come here and you can also purchase or use your raid credits to get some extra gear pieces that you might be lacking, in the purple gear arena. I typically don't tend to purchase orange gear, because there's not really like many uniques and things that you're gonna find, in the raid store. So I primarily just use it for purple gear if I need like some extra MRI, or if I need some extra unstable molecules, or just a little bit of something extra that I might need, and I'm farming a character at that specific time. I might go ahead and jump into the store and actually buy those items. Arena credits, with the way I look at arena credits, is that you specifically want to target farm characters. That's really kind of the only thing that you can do with arena credits. But one thing that is worth mentioning, this is another way that you can waste your credits. Do not farm characters that are in nodes, that are in campaign nodes. You don't want to waste your precious resources farming characters that are already in campaign nodes. Just as my recommendation for you, not to waste your credits farming characters that are already in specific raid, in campaign nodes. You don't want to waste your credits doing that. So that's just my recommendation. And once again, I think I should mention this too, is that make sure that you are also only farming one character at a time. I think it's just better for you to have one specific focus and not farming multiple characters at one time. In the war store, a lot of the principles remain the same. Don't farm characters that are already in campaign nodes. Don't waste your credits that way. Having a specific target focus for which characters that you do want to farm, and making sure that you're farming characters there. There's a lot of really good characters that are in the war store. Obviously Carnage is there, who's a really good character with the symbiotes, with the symbiote team. Sif is in the store, which is a character that's necessary for you to be able to farm a legendary in Black Bolt. You also have Mr. Sinister too as well, who's also a really good character. And Pyro. Pyro as well is also a character that you can use to unlock Magneto as well. So, once again, using War Store for those specific things. But also another thing that you can find in the War Store too as well are your superior uniques. And also your Gear 14 uniques. Once again, this is probably a store that's not really accessible to earlier game players, but once again, doing this video for everyone that potentially also wants to know how to effectively manage resources. I would also as well say that you probably don't want to focus in on, now one of the things that I will mention, you probably don't want to farm like these specific things. Every now and again, it's not bad to come and get 10 of these for 800 credits. If you have a good pool of credits that you have available, then absolutely, of course, make sure you can definitely do that. Still watch how much you have and make sure that you have enough to be able to farm the characters that you need, and also making sure that you're targeting specific maybe mini uniques that you have. I also even consider at times, and do purchase these orange pieces, these orange catalyst pieces. Catalysts are something that you need a lot of to take characters to gear tier 13 and to gear tier 14. So I also will look into the store too as well and grab a couple of those items in here too, as well as the superior isomers every now and again too as well, because typically you run out a lot of these little isomers too as well. So yeah, I mean, don't farm any characters that are in the store. Like, don't grab Nobu from the store. Nobu is it has his own node. You don't need to farm him here in the store. So that's just my recommendation. Red Star orbs, red stars in general, I mean, we can talk about that at a much different time, but the one thing that I do want to mention when it comes to red stars, one of the biggest mistakes that I made is that whenever this got to 1 or 5 or whatever, I would just hit this button and then convert them over to credits, so that I could then, of course, use them in this store. What I'm learning from that is that it's probably actually better. Especially now that you have other ways of being able to get these credits, it's probably actually better just to save those until you can pull and open up an elite 4-star orb. And then of course, whenever you get duplicates for an elite 4-star orb, then that goes over here and it kind of sits in this pool until you get enough. It's for you to be able to pull an elite 5-star orb, which is where you want to go as well. You want to pull an elite 5-star orb. Again, 4 stars or 5 stars for any character, is good. Obviously, you hope that it's a character that you want, or it's a good character for your team. So therefore, but I just want to recommend that I think that it's better for you to wait until you can actually use these to get an elite 4-star orb, and then that way, any extras that you get, you can use to open up an elite 5-star orb, and kind of so on and so forth. So that's just my recommendation. Power cores. Once again, I would recommend that you only spend power cores on campaign energy. I don't think that it's necessary for you. I know I see a lot of like offers in the store to spend money on your power cores on. My recommendation 100% is to make sure that you're only spending your power cores on campaign energy. And once it gets to that place where they're asking you for like campaign energy refreshes, right? Once you get to that point where you're gonna have to hit that 100 power cores, I would then stop at that point and not spend the extra 100. Once again, it's about effectively manage your resources and making sure that your resources can do the most for you, right? And then the last, but certainly not least, thing that I want to mention are your blitz charges. Your blitz charges are also a really, really good thing to use, especially if you're trying to push to go further along in blitz. I always recommend using your blitz charges on kind of like your top teams, like your top tier teams that that can win in 8 and win in 8-3, or win in the high 7s, whatever it is, like your good teams that you want to use. Make sure that you're using you probably want to use credits on those characters or those teams. I only use charges that I know that I'm going to get back in that day. So from the villains campaign, when you do your 3 villains nodes, you can get 100 blitz charges. On the medic supply day, you can get up to 270 charges a day, right? When on that Monday, that Thursday, and on that Sunday. So those are the days where I typically tend to use most of my blitz charges, and those are typically the day when I push to get those higher points on blitz rotations. So that is when I will use a little bit more of my blitz charges. But I try to only use the blitz charges that I know that I am going to get back on that day. I try not to go over that, and I only use those blitz charges on those teams that I know that can win at those high tiers, or those teams that I know that I can guarantee to at least get me that W, right? So yeah, this is as far as I'll go in terms of credits and resources and how to manage those resources. If there's anything, just as a quick recap, I'll plug this in again. When it comes to your gold, because it's the most scarce gold, I recommend making sure that you only use the amount that you're getting from your daily objectives on a day-by-day basis. Only use that gold that you're going to get back, right? I think you get like over 170 or over 150 thousand gold. Team it, use the 150 from one day and 150 from the next day to do some other things that you want to use with your gold tool as well, or plan your big gold spending days to be on the days where you're doing your gold rushes, right? Where you're getting 78 times 3, or your 88 times 3, from your gold rush, 88,000 times 3 in your gold rush, challenges. On those days, that's what I would try to spend your high gold currency. And I also do this too as well. I also do hoard gold orbs, because for me it's a way for me not to spend more gold than I have. If I just open every single gold orb, then I probably would not have the self-discipline that is required for me to be able to maintain having the gold currency that I need to do other things, or I would not even be able to maintain just the just gold in general, I would just constantly be running out of gold, and then I would go to the offer store and then buy more gold orbs, and then buy more gold offers and things like that. So for me, this is just a very cost effective way for me to manage my gold by hoarding these old gold orbs. And then once, if I ever get down to under 1,000,000 gold, I get down to maybe under 500k gold, then I'll open up enough gold orbs that I need in order to be able to do what I need to get done. So that's just my recommendation. Obviously, I'm curious to hear about what you guys would think. Leave a comment in the video. My Discord is also available, so if, also available in this down the bottom of this on this video too as well. So feel free to message me, if you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions in terms of how to manage your gold, or leave it in the comments too as well of how to manage your not just your gold, but to manage all of the resources that you have in this game. But thank you so much for watching. Really, really, really appreciate it. If you like this video, then leave a like, also subscribe, also comment on the video too as well. And also do know I'm also on Twitch from Tuesday through Friday, also on streams, so as well. So feel free to also catch me there too as well. But looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you guys so much. Have a good one, and as usual, as I always say, be blessed.